Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew. Today we're going to be looking at Assassin's Creed Mirage on the RTX 4070 Ti, so let's get right into it. Before we get started here, let's just take a look at our rig. We've of course got the RTX 4070 Ti at stock settings. We've got an i7 13700K, slightly overclocked to 5.4 gigahertz, and 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM at 6400 megahertz. Alright, Assassin's Creed, here we go. I have been a fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise since the very beginning. The last 3 games didn't really do it for me, but going back to the original, it was such a fun experience. I remember playing it with my cousins, and it was just kind of a new type of game that we hadn't really seen before. The stealth action and assassinations were so fun. This is supposed to be a return to that kind of form, so we'll see if it really ends up being that way. A return to form for the old Assassin's Creed franchise. So right away, let's just take a look at our graphics settings here. I want to start off at 1080p, and our graphics quality, let's start off at the high setting at 1080p. Oh, and we have to restart the game to apply high settings. All right, we'll be right back, but this is a point against this game already. Boy, in this intro, all these screens are so long. They're so long, it's awful. I mean, why do we need all that? Like the first time you go through, I can understand, but the second time you go through, just skip it. And the point of this video is really not to completely evaluate this game for the game. It's to look at how it performs at various graphical settings on the RTX 4070 Ti in this video, but we'll see. We might have another graphics card coming in soon, so we're gonna see how that is. Now at high settings, we get all high. That all makes sense. It looks like it's going to give us 4.6 gigabytes of memory allocation against the 12 on this particular card. Interestingly, it's going to give us an adaptive quality option by default and TAA. So, you know what? We're going to turn this off for now. We're going to run it at native to start off with, and we'll see how that goes. New game, let's go. So it looks like cutscenes. These cutscenes are locked to 30 frames per second. It looks nice, but it's a pre-rendered, it looks like a pre-rendered cutscene that would fit in on a console. So this is something that was missing a little bit from the previous games, the kind of blending of the ancient with the modern technology. I can't wait to get into some gameplay. That's for sure. Ooh, that looks cool. That guy was creepy. All right. Frame spike right away. And remember, this is at 1080p high settings with no upscaling. We've got some nice kind of depth of field effects going on here. And at 1080p, at least right at the moment, we're coming up right against an 8 gigabyte frame buffer allocation. I wonder if these frame spikes that I'm seeing here are shader compilation spikes. I'm not really sure. Oof, okay. Let's just see if it calms down a little bit. Wow. Very nice lighting and shadows. And we are, oh man, ugly frame spikes. And it just feels, so we'll see if this is possibly shader compilation and that it'll stop. I'm hoping that it does. But this looks lovely. This looks beautiful. Oh my goodness, this frame spikes. But as you can see, we're getting 100 in the mid hundreds. So if this stutter calms down a little bit, we'll be looking good. But that is a big if right now. Oof. Just a reminder, we're at 1080p high settings, no upscaling. And yeah, I would say this is playable. Whoa, hello. But it's almost unplayable with those frame spikes that we were seeing. It looks like it may be calming down. There's another one. This seems to me like shader compilation. But what a poor experience to start out with in a game. If you're dealing with all the stutter right at the very beginning, it sucks. It just sucks. So let's just keep going here at 1080p. And we'll see if these issues resolve themselves with the stutter. Oh my goodness. It looks so nice, so...
I see your meaning. A little sleight of hand to sharpen our wits.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely shader compile. Because right when I went into Eagle Vision, it had to load in the shaders for that.
Ready yourself.
I'm here. Jeez.
I will pick them out.
Jeez Louise.
A keen eye and an agile hand.
The lighting, though, it looks great. Ubisoft, you know, say what you want about them. They do have a lot of issues.
The boisterous one. He must have something.
What? Oh, hey, that's cool. That's fun. Oh, look, this guy.
Where are you going now? Sneaky, sneaky.
But Ubisoft has talented artists, and they make things that look really beautiful.
And over there.
The types of games they make, and the formulaic kind of things they do. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But they have talented people working there, and talented artists. Cool. And this honestly seems kind of fun already. I'm kind of already liking this. What am I supposed to be doing? I honestly don't know what all those spikes are now, because I was thinking it might be shaders compiling, but then it just doesn't seem to go away. Oof. It just seems persistent. But it could still be shaders compiling, even though it's persisting. And I haven't seen, just to be clear, I haven't seen any reviews of this game. I haven't seen any tech analysis yet before I'm just looking at it. So I'm looking at it with fresh eyes here. Oof. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Okay. So 1080p high settings. Let's go ahead and turn up to very high at 1080p. Once again, turn off our upsampling. And I have to restart the game again to go from high to very high settings. We'll be right back. Oh, I love these loading screens though. You gotta love that. So we've loaded back in. We're finally back. We're finally back with our frame spikes after moving up a tier in quality settings and having to restart the game. Man, these frame spikes are killing me. And this is looking lovely. The graphics really look nice. The water has just a really lovely kind of light refraction going on, and it has this lovely hazy quality that seems to be additive as it goes into the water. Really nice. Looks lovely. Oh my goodness. All of the texture work is really good. And I'm thinking we're getting fewer and fewer frame spikes. There's one, there's another one. I swear this has to be, it has to be compiling shaders or something. I know I've said that probably enough times, but that's what it has to be doing. Like every time something new appears on the screen, it's loading that in, and then it should be loaded in for good until, say, you install new drivers or whatever, or a new graphics card. So I guess if this is indeed shader compilation, once we get our new graphics card, which should be an RX 7600, we'll probably have to go through this process again And that's just assuming that that is what this is, and it isn't just like broken, which, you know, it could be. Oh, we love these. Yes. Classic. Classic, classic, classic. Okay, so the very high settings look good. I'm trying to see, something about it looks nicer. It's a little bit hard to discern exactly. I think we've probably got a little bit higher quality textures. And also, yeah, if you look at our, in the upper left at our 4070 Ti memory allocation, it has allocated just a little bit more memory than before. A little bit nicer textures, a little bit nicer shadows. It all looks very nice. Man, I wish I could jump around like this guy.
It's Basim!
It's Basim! Hey! Let's see about going to 1080p ultra high settings. So now our memory allocation is going to go up to 6 gigabytes. World details. Oh, man, well, all of these are requiring a restart. Shadows require a restart. World details require a restart. Clutter density requires a restart. All of this requires a restart. This is going to be 1080p ultra high settings, and we're going to turn off adaptive quality, so it's going to be native, and that is with TAA as the default. Okay, we're back in the game. I think what we're going to do for now is stay at ultra quality settings as we increase resolution, and we'll just add our different upscaling methods to that rather than restart the game every time. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like from high settings to ultra quality settings, we've lost about 20 frames per second. We were at about 140, 150. Now we're more around 120. So I think we'll be okay to stick with this up through our increased resolutions and just use our upscaling of choice and see what that gets us. And is it possible that well, there's a little frame spike. There's another one. This looks great. I mean, it looks great. If I do have to say though, I expect that when we do turn on upscaling, which we're going to do here shortly, that the image will actually get a little bit sharper. Oh, that's fun. I love that. I expect that with DLSS and with FSR, we're going to have a lot more sharpness being applied. The image looks a bit soft. It is 1080p. But that's also a thing just with TAA as well. And the game is so vibrant. It looks so nice. All the texture work is very realistic, I would say. Like everything has, everything almost has this photorealistic quality to it, which is really nice. Pole vault. Oh, fun. And I think that's where Ubisoft really excels in a lot of this stuff. They have a lot of really good good artists. So I wonder, because we're about to turn on some. Oh, we should go up there. So before we turn on our upscaling, let's make our way to this tower over here, and we'll scale the tower. Then we'll get some upscaling going, some DLSS. And we'll see how that goes. Boy, it looks, I mean, it's like a classic Assassin's Creed game. And it just looks beautiful. I don't know if it's just me getting used to the stutter or if it's actually lessening. But it feels like it's lessening. Oh. Oh, hello. It feels like it's getting a little bit better, but then I just look over and I see more frame spikes. Alright, look at this. That looks lovely. It really, really looks beautiful. So, about 130 FPS up here. Freaking frame spikes. Let's turn on some DLSS at quality. Hopefully, let's see if we have to restart for this. Because I'm telling you, no, we don't have to restart for that. Thank goodness. All right. And one thing I'm curious about is maybe it will alleviate some of those frame spikes. I haven't seen one yet here with DLSS. A little bit of a boost, not a tremendous boost to our frame rate with quality, but we are up here, so maybe if we jump down into the town, we'll see more of a difference. And yeah, I'd say 5%. A 5% boost. It's possible that we are more CPU limited at 1080p, which may be why we're not getting as much of a boost from DLSS. I haven't noticed any frame spike with DLSS enabled so far. And yes, it does indeed look sharper. There was a frame spike, but it was at a point that was not a big deal. Yeah, and yeah, it is sharper. DLSS, in my opinion, has made this look sharper. And this is this is getting to be quite a good experience. I think, I don't know if DLSS had anything to do with it, but I think it could also just be that the shaders compiled now. Yeah, it could just be that the shaders compiled. Well, there's a few spikes, but it seems to be getting less and less common to see these spikes. So now let's bump up our resolution to 1440 and see how that goes. So apply 1440 and also native resolution. And obviously a big visual quality improvement. Frame spikes are back. Maybe it's just temporary. This looks so good. Going from 1080p to 1440 native, we lost probably about a third of our frame rate. Going from about 140, 150 to now at 1440p native about 100 to 110. The dappled lighting, the shadows, realistic textures. It has a nice photorealistic quality to it. The only thing that looks kind of iffy are these character faces. I don't think they look that great. And the frame spikes seem to be calming down a little bit. They're just every once in a while you just hit this frame spike. And if you happen to have played this game and you're watching this, let me know if you have experienced these frame spikes, or if maybe I'm doing something wrong. So let's turn on some DLSS quality and see what this does for us. Also, just to note, we do have sharpening applied at 60%. That's the default, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, I think my initial impression at 1080p was right, that we were a little bit CPU limited at that resolution, so DLSS didn't have as much of an impact. Here we're seeing about a 25% boost to our frame rate with DLSS quality, and it looks much sharper than with the native TAA anti-aliasing. So I much prefer this. This is great. Oh, here we go. I like Imagine the balance. Imagine the balance you have to have. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Yes. 1440p DLSS quality. When I turn on DLSS, the frame spikes are really minimized, which is great. And this looks really good. This looks really, really good. And we're getting about, up here, we're getting about 120, 125, 130 frames per second. We're starting, and just to note, we're starting to get up toward 10 gigabytes of memory allocated VRAM. So at 1440p, I think that that's reasonable for a modern game. This is also pushing up against, you know, the original 3080 10 gigabyte, pushing right up against the limits of that card. So that's kind of just what it is these days. That's kind of what it is. So this is great. This is an awesome experience with DLSS at 1440p on the 4070 Ti. Yeah, this is good. All right, so let's make a quick adjustment. Let's go all the way up to 4K. And at the same time, still at ultra high quality, let's go to native TAA and see where that puts us. So we're dropping into the 60s. We did not drop into the 50s. We are just dropping to 60. Now, let me see real quick, because there is a setting. This is what I was looking for, adaptive quality. We had this turned off. This adjusts the resolution so that you don't fall below a certain frame rate. And we don't have that on, so that's good. It just appears that the game is bottoming out at about 60 frames per second, which is good at 4K. Also at 4K, the sort of softness of TAA is mitigated substantially. So this looks really good. Shadows look great. I haven't really noticed as many shader compilation stutters as I did before. And we're in the 70s. We're in the 70s at 4K. Our VRAM allocation is still safely below 12 at about 10.5 gigabytes. Yeah, you can play like this. You can play at 4K native resolution. Oh. Wait. Okay. Always a sign of a good game. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. See, Ubisoft knows that that's an important component of the game, so that's good. Alright, let's go back up to our favorite spot here. Yeah, and at 4K, these textures look so good. Yeah, and we're bottoming out at about 60. So if you're on a controller, this is a great experience. And I mean, it'll be a good experience no matter what, because you're just bottoming out at 60. I like how 60, it seems like 60 frames per second has become like the new 30 experience for some people. Like you always need 100 FPS, but 60 is good. So let's at 4K now. Let us at 4K ultra high setting. Let's turn on some DLSS quality, and we're getting like another third onto our FPS. We're up at 90 now. And I have to say, at 4K, the native resolution seemed to look a little bit better to me. So whereas at 1440p and 1080p, I thought that the DLSS made it look better. I don't think it looks quite as good at 4K. Oh, hello. But it looks good. And you're getting, I would say the trade-off of being up around 90 frames per second versus 60 is worth it. Is very much worth it. So yeah, this is a lovely experience at 4K DLSS quality. This looks great, extremely playable at 4K DLSS quality. What more can you ask for? The textures look great. We're not maxing out our VRAM on the 4070 Ti. You'll love to see that. I didn't expect that this game would, but you know, that's always a thing these days. even in games with either light or no ray tracing implementation, which this game does not appear to have any ray tracing implementation. Water looks great. Looks really good. Oh, there was some kind of weird ripply animation kind of played fast through there. Okay. Well, I think that's about it for this. Around 90 FPS at 4K. Can't go wrong there. So what did we learn today? Well, I think we learned that this game has somewhat of a stuttering issue. It really puts a damper on the early moments of this game. But I do believe it's a shader compilation issue, so as you run throughout the environment, you'll see these stutters, and then that same stutter won't happen again for that particular object or scenery that you were looking at. It did seem to take a while to get through those shader compilations, but over time, over about 15 or 20 minutes, it seemed to lessen and then go away. That is a long time though to have to deal with that. I think they need a shader compilation process before you even get into the game, or have it load in, or at least give you a warning about it, because when you load into a game and have these horrible stutters, that sucks. And it makes you want to quit the game, quite frankly. Otherwise, the game performs very well. It scales nicely from 1080p to 4K, especially with DLSS. When you enable DLSS at 1440p, you get a nice high refresh rate experience at around 140 frames per second. At 4K, you can get up to 90 frames per second with DLSS quality, and the game looks really good. It has nice artwork, nice textures, nice lighting, nice shadows. It's really a nice looking game. So if the shader compilation issues can get ironed out, or they can have a step before you load into the game where it takes care of those, that would be great. And then I could probably recommend the game, at least from a performance standpoint. I'll have to play a little bit more of the game to figure out if it's a good game. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm Andrew. Please like and subscribe if you like what you saw here, and I'll see you next time.